Good evening. Trump just said it out loud, and this time, the words hit different. On Easter Sunday morning, while most of America was sitting down for family brunch, President Donald Trump logged onto Truth Social and posted one of the most explosive messages of this entire conflict. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one, in Iran. And then he added, and we'll keep the language clean here, that if Tehran doesn't open the Strait of Hormuz, they will be, in his words, living in hell. He signed off the message. Praise be to Allah. A follow-up post clarified the deadline. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This is not a drill. This is not a bluff, or at least, that's what we don't know yet. Because here's where things get complicated. Let's back up. Where are we right now? The United States and Iran have been at war for over a month. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway through which roughly a fifth of the world's oil passes, has been effectively shut down since the conflict began. Iran has used control of the strait as one of its key bargaining chips. The spot price for Brent crude oil soared to $141 per barrel, the highest since the 2008 financial crisis. Back home, the average price of a gallon of gasoline in the U.S. reached $4.08, almost a full dollar higher than on President Biden's last day in office. So when Trump talks about ending this war, it's not just a foreign policy question, it's a kitchen table question for millions of American families. What exactly did Trump threaten? Trump said, and if they don't do something by Tuesday evening, they won't have any power plants and they won't have any bridges standing. He also told the Wall Street Journal that he was not concerned about the impact on Iranian civilians. No, they want us to do it, he said, adding that Iranians are already living in hell. He went even further. If they don't make a deal and fast, I'm considering blowing everything up and taking over the oil. That last sentence, taking over the oil, carries enormous implications. It would require boots on the ground. It would mean a prolonged occupation. And it directly contradicts the message Trump has been sending to the American public, that this war is almost over. Is this even legal under international law? This is the question legal experts and human rights organizations are raising loudly right now. Targeting critical civilian infrastructure, including power plants, could be considered a war crime. The Geneva Conventions define objects indispensable to civilian survival as illegal military targets, citing drinking water installations among the protected categories. The destruction of power plants could lead to widespread blackouts, impacting hospitals, water treatment facilities, and food supply chains. Amnesty International's Secretary General described Trump's post as revolting, warning that Iranian civilians will be the first to suffer. Iran's mission to the United Nations responded, "The international community and all states have legal obligations to prevent such atrocious acts of war crimes. They must act now. Tomorrow is too late." How is Iran responding? Iran is not backing down, at least not publicly. A senior Iranian official stated that the Strait of Hormuz would only be reopened after the country is fully compensated for war damages through a new legal regime of transit fees for ships passing through. Iran's parliament speaker threatened that if the U.S. struck civilian facilities, Iran would target Gulf and U.S.-linked energy infrastructure throughout the region. A key advisor to Iran's supreme leader even warned that Iran could close the Bab al-Mandab Strait, another critical waterway connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden. That would be a massive escalation with global consequences. And Iran isn't just talking. Iranian drone attacks struck power plants, a petrochemical facility, and government ministry offices in Kuwait, causing fires and significant material damage. Similar attacks were reported in Bahrain. Is there any path to a deal? Quietly, behind the explosions and the social media posts, diplomacy is happening. A source close to mediators confirmed that a proposal for a 4-5-day ceasefire is on the table, a window for the U.S. and Iran to negotiate broader differences. Pakistan, the central mediator passing messages between both sides, has declined to confirm or deny the proposal publicly. Over the past 10 days, the U.S. and Iran have held indirect negotiations through Pakistan, Egypt, and Turkey. No significant progress has been officially announced. And Trump himself, even while posting these threats, said there was a good chance of a deal by Monday. That contradiction, maximum pressure, and maximum diplomacy at the same time is exactly how the Trump playbook operates. The question is whether Iran will fold or whether Tuesday's deadline will become yet another extension. What does the American public want? This is the pressure point that doesn't get enough attention. A recent poll found that 71% of Americans oppose Congress authorizing $200 billion for further military action in Iran. A similar 68% oppose sending ground troops. Even among Republicans who identify as MAGA supporters, more people oppose ground troops than favor them. Only 29% of Americans say the Iran war has been worth the toll in American lives and financial cost, a stark contrast to the 59% who said the Iraq war was worth it back in 2003. Trump himself acknowledged the disconnect. Speaking at an Easter lunch at the White House, he said he was not sure that the people in our country have the patience for a prolonged operation to seize Iran's oil, and called that unfortunate. There it is, the commander-in-chief, caught between his instinct to escalate and the reality that the American public, including his own base, wants this to end. Where does this leave us? There is also a legal clock quietly ticking in the background. Under the War Powers Resolution, the president must notify Congress within 48 hours of introducing forces into hostilities. From there, a 60-day window begins. Without congressional authorization, the law requires winding down operations. Congress has not approved any new authorization tied to the current operation. So we have a president threatening to escalate on Tuesday. We have a nation that wants to come home. We have diplomats working the phones behind the scenes. And we have a legal framework that may soon force the issue whether Trump wants it to or not. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's the deadline. Whether it becomes a turning point toward a deal, toward destruction, or toward yet another extension, we will be here, breaking it down for you as it happens. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you back here for the latest. Good night.